اللهم أعظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقادت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك، أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أهترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما هو وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا المعترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شدي وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي، يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي. هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي. أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر حوات من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح السعات إلى أوطان تعبدك طاععة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل المكثوه يسير البقاء قصير المدة فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها ضج وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على حر نارك. فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك. فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأذجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج العاملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يذج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي. فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفا أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقا أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها. هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولا، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قو على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أصرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في البارزين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخسهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجام، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن عجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دوام، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى. ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم. صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا. يا دائم الفضل على البرية، يا باسط اليدين بالعطية، يا صاحب المواهب السنية. صل على محمد وآله خير الورى سجية، واغفر لنا يا ذا العلا في هذه العشية. for the coming of Sahib al-Zaman, recite aloud salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس ضرب مثل فاستمعوا له. إن الذين تدعون من دون الله لن يخلقوا ذبابا ولو اجتمعوا له. وإن يسلبهم الذباب شيئا لا يستنقذوه منه. ضعف الطالب والمطلوب. ما قدر الله حق قدره. إن الله لقوي عزيز. الله يصطفي من الملائكة الله يصطفي من الملائكة رسلا ومن الناس. إن الله سميع بصير. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اركعوا واسجدوا واعبدوا ربكم وافعلوا الخير لعلكم تفلحون. وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاده وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاده هو اجتباكم وما جعل عليكم في الدين هو اجتباكم وما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج ملة أبيكم إبراهيم هو سماكم المسلمين من قبل وفي هذا ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس فأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واعتصموا بالله هو مولاكم فنعم المولى ونعم النصير فنعم المولى ونعم النصير الله أكبر الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا مطربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة صدق الله العلي العظيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين. For the peoples whose lips were sealed for that salawat, recite a louder salawat please. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اركعوا واسجدوا واعبدوا ربكم وافعلوا الخير لعلكم تفلحون. The ayat of Surah Al-Hajj that were recited today indicate to us that when belief exists only in the heart and it stops there, this belief withers away and dies. Knowledge becomes knowledge when the information that enters into your being is reflected thereafter in your action. And up until then, that knowledge is but mere information. Likewise, the iman that exists in all of our hearts, and it does definitely exist in all of our hearts, otherwise we wouldn't be wearing black and joining here today in these majalis, it can only take its true form when it manifests itself in our actions. Otherwise, if this claim of belief that simply exists in the heart was sufficient, then perhaps we could argue that the likes of Muawiyah were the best of believers. Not only did people like him claim belief, but when it suited him, you would see that here and there, he would be leading the Salatul Jama'ah, for example. And you would see that when the praise of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam would be recited in front of him, he would shed tears. This is the same Ali that he tried to kill. This is the same Imam al-Mujtaba alayhi salam that he would later on kill. But we find that a person who claims belief and sometimes here and there shows a little inkling of it in his actions and doesn't fully manifest it in his lifestyle and doesn't make his life revolve around or make his life placed upon the foundations of his belief, then we find that such belief in fact is dead. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't call us to come and accept a certain belief system into our heart. He doesn't say in your heart you should have purity. He says, irka'u wasjudu wa'abudu rabbakum. Bow down, prostrate, obey your Lord. that which you claim in your heart, you say your heart is good and pure. I'm someone that believes, I am a Shia, I am an Azadar. That's all good and well. But let's see it then. This should manifest in your actions, and if not, it will most definitely exit your heart as well. It's very easy for me to think that I've been wearing black in these Muharram for the past how many years of my life. But who's to say that if I don't act upon the teachings that I claim and act upon the teachings that I acquire, that it will remain with me? Inshallah, we are those who act upon our knowledge and act upon our iman with the barakah of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. نظر میں لے کے 72 شہادتوں کا نظام، ہلال سے شب عاشور کہہ رہے ہیں امام، لہو میں ڈوبی ہوئی داستاں سناتے ہیں، اے لالا ہو تمہیں کربلا دکھاتے ہیں، سنو ہلال سنو، سنو ہلال سنو، سنو ہلال سنو، سنو ہلال سنو. شہادتوں کا یہ ایک سلسلہ ہے باترتیب، بنے گی کل اسی مقتل کی خاک سب کو نصیب، نہ دیکھ پاؤ گے جو وقت آ رہا ہے قریب، شہید ہوں گے یہاں جون اور زہیر و حبیب، اے لالا ہو تمہیں کربلا دکھاتے ہیں، پلٹ کے آئے گا کوئی برائے قربانی، تمہیں خبر ہے کئی دن سے بند ہے پانی، ادا کریں گے بھلا کیسے حق مہمانی، یہاں پہ خون میں ڈوبے گی حر کی پیشانی، اے لالا ہو تمہیں کربلا دکھاتے ہیں، وہ لال جو ہمیں لگتے ہیں جان سے پیارے، کریں گے جنگ یہی 3 روز کے پیاسے، لہو لہو نظر آئیں گے گود کے پالے، شہید ہوں گے یہاں نونہال زینب کے، ہے لالا ہو تمہیں کربلا دکھاتے ہیں، بیان شہادت قاسم کا اب کریں کیسے، نہ باز آئیں گے ایک ظلم پر جفا والے، بھگائے جائیں گے اس جس پہ ناز پر گھوڑے، سمٹ نہ پائیں گے پامال لاش کے ٹکڑے، اے لالا ہو تمہیں کربلا دکھاتے ہیں، ہمارا لال جو اکبر ہے مصطفیٰ جیسا، سنان ظلم وہ اپنے جگر پہ کھائے گا، نظر کے سامنے ہوگا جوان کا لاشا، عجیب وقت میں آئے گا قاصد سغرا، اے لالا ہو تمہیں کربلا دکھاتے ہیں، यहाँ पे होगा सितम ऐसा एक बच्चे पर, ज़मीन और अर्श पे हो जाए जिस पे ज़ेरो ज़बर। तुम ही बताओ कि हम बाप में कहें क्यों कर, ये वो जगह है जहाँ होगी तुरबते असगर। ए लाला हो तुम्हें करबला दिखाते हैं। तसव्वुरत में जाकर जरा उधर देखो, नमाज असर के मंजर को एक नजर देखो। नसब में ताए खंजर हमारा सर देखो, जो देख पाओ तो जहरा को नोहा घर देखो। हे लाला हो तुम्हें करबला दिखाते हैं। जहाँ पे खुद कोई मजलूम अपनी बात करे, हर एक लफ्ज पे आंखों से बहरे अश्क बहे। पढ़े तो किस तरह मीसम कलीम कैसे लिखे, बयाज गम है मुसलसल हुसैन के फिक्रे। ए लाला हो तुम्हें करबला दिखाते हैं। लहू में डूबी हुई दास्ता सुनाते हैं। ए लाला हो तुम्हें करबला दिखाते हैं। सुनो हिलाल सुनो, सुनो हिलाल सुनो, सुनो हिलाल सुनो, सुनो हिलाल सुनो। सल्लु अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a reminder that there's daily English and Urdu programs. English starts at 7 p.m. with Dua Tawassul, followed by Maghrib and Salah, and then we move on to the Urdu program. The English programs with Syed Zeshum will continue until next Wednesday, July the 17th. The English programs go as follows. At 7 p.m. we have Dua Tawassul, 7:30 Quran recitation followed by Tafsir. Then we have Mercy and Salam. We have the speech, and then followed by Noha and Ziyarat. In addition to our daily programs, Mahdi Youth will be hosting 3 discussions with Syed Zeshum. The first of which is today, a co-ed discussion which starts around 9:45 in the basement. Our next discussion will be tomorrow, brothers only, and the sisters only discussion will be on Saturday. All 3 of these will start at around 9:45. We'll be in the basement, and we invite you all to join us. These programs are not possible without your support. We are reaching out to you all to help us cover our costs for Muharram and to donate to the Muharram Fund. You can donate towards our majalis, sabils, and discussions. For more info and bookings, please visit us at my booth at the brothers or sisters entrances, or contact the phone number on the screens. If you like the headband that I'm wearing, they're available for sale for $3 at both the brothers and sisters booths. The Mahdi Youth Society is also excited to launch a Muharram Kids programs for children ages 5 to 10. Join us for Quran, a short interactive lecture, nohas, and activities. These programs will run daily from Thursday, July 11th to Monday, July 15th, parallel to the main English program, from 7:30 to 9 p.m., and will take place in the basement. If you would like your children to participate, please sign them up using the link on our socials. The Mahdi Youth Society is also taking part in the Nainoa 2024 conference, which is taking place this Sunday, July 14th, at the Afghan Canadian Islamic Community in North York. The space is limited, so make sure you get your tickets ASAP through the link on our My Socials. Furthermore, we thank all the parents that make the effort in bringing their young children to commemorate the Azah. We encourage them to participate in the Majlis program. However, if you feel that they are getting restless or noisy, then we ask you to take them to the ladies' hall for ladies only, where you can still listen to the majlis, so we are continuing to be mindful of all those who are listening to the majalis with us. Also, a gentle reminder to the attendees of the majalis to be gentle and patient with the youngest attendees of our majalis and the parents that brought them here, so we can help facilitate their love for Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his sacrifice. There is a request for dua sehat for the following individuals tonight: Baqir Hussein, Syed Muhammad Haidar Rizvi, Batul Akbar, and Nishat Fatima. So let's all recite together, please. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. There's a request for Surah Fatiha for the marhumin of tonight's sponsors and all of our marhumin, especially Sayyid Asad Jafri. We'd also remind the kids to go downstairs, as the kids program is now about to start in the basement. And let's have everyone move up and recite 3 loud salawats as we welcome up the Sayyid. Allahumma salli ala
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواحنا لتراب مقدمه الفداء فقد قال الله في كتابه المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألم يأن للذين آمنوا أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله وما نزل من الحق صدق الله العلي العظيم For the hastening of the reappearance of our Imam, please recite a louder salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And so that we are the first to greet the Imam upon his return, the ones who respond to his call without needing to hear his call, please recite the loudest of salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. What we've been discussing in the past couple of nights was the intellect and the faculties of the intellect and the ability of the intellect to transform our lives. We see that by becoming aware of something, of reality, in a real way we change, we become different. And this is something, we talked about the pleasures and layers of pleasures in different ways. We can sense this as well in the way of getting to know things. When we become aware of something, we sense a level of pleasure. It's something that pleases us, that we now know something that we previously didn't. But that level of pleasure that we have upon acquiring that knowledge relates and is proportional to how important we feel that knowledge is. Right? If it's something that's utterly meaningless to us and has no relevance to our lives, then even if we might have at some level happiness of knowing something new, it's quite insignificant and we can ignore it quite easily. But when it's something deep and impactful on our lives, then it's something that we immediately sense a difference within ourselves. And this is something that has nothing to do with religion as a concept. It's something we can sense whether we believe in religion or not. It's something that holds true. Now, this idea of knowledge providing a way to gain access to reality and therefore changing our lives, it's something that we see, there's something that holds us back in a way from that really happening. And that's the persistent illusion and delusion of this world that we've mentioned time and again. That this world seems to us to be the real thing, the thing that has all of that which actually benefits us. And the next world seems as if it's the abstract, the vague thing. Perhaps we don't really believe in it. Perhaps if we believe in it, it's just something so far off. And because of that, we can't really truly encapsulate within ourselves the concept that the next world is the real world. That that's where everything I should be aiming for should be oriented. But nowadays we see even a further degree of separation. Right? If that wasn't already hard enough to remove ourselves from the material and reach our true self of the intellect in the next life, we now find ourselves faced with another degree of separation from even this material world. And that's sinking into this sort of metaverse, this artificial world that we build within our devices, within social medias, within all of these things. Again, I'm not saying that these are things that we need to avoid necessarily, or that there are something that are inherently bad or anything like that. But we should be cognizant of the effect that it has on us. Right? If we sink in all of our efforts, all of our attention into relationships and actions and interactions that are all within this false metaverse world, then that's another degree of separation that pulls me away from even this material world. And you'll see it, right? And you'll see it even, the rate of change is scary when you think about it. Right? I'm sure people, of my age remember their own youth. That when they were young, when they were kids, there was no devices, right? You didn't have handheld devices at that time. And you had game consoles, so you might have played that. But other than that, if you wanted to have fun, if you wanted to hang out with friends, you went outside. Right? You actually had to interact with them. You had to meet them. Right? And it's probably my generation that slowly saw this within their own lifespan change very drastically. Right? As they're going through school, found it immediately changing from almost 1 year after another. There's a new thing coming out, new thing coming out, new thing, and dramatically changing how our interactions happened. You might say that, okay, what's the problem? Why can't I have, friends online? I have meaningful relationships like that. It's just as real as anything that's in person. Why can't that be the case? But it's not, right? I'll just put it as a blunt claim. It's not the same, right? The depth of emotion, of friendship, of link and relationship that you can have with someone that's online at a separation without being able to really interact in their lives, not at a time where I can just click a button and end that relationship and sort of say that, okay, I'm going to talk to someone else. No, I have to be in front of them. It has its own restrictions if I'm in front of someone. I can't escape it. I can't just run away. Technically I could run away, but inshallah we wouldn't run away. That builds us in a different way. It forces us to deal with each other in a more meaningful manner. Think about yourself. If you're friends with someone who's online, and that's my only interaction with this brother is online, and I believe to be friends and things. He says something I don't like, I turn off my computer. I turn off my phone. I put it on do not disturb mode. Now what? The person doesn't even know where I live. Right? Doesn't even know my phone number, probably. He can't contact me if I don't want him to. Doesn't have any ability to access me. Can't interact with me. Can't do anything with my life. That's not how it's supposed to be. Right? Why am I dictating that? And so we see this is something that we are suffering from. Right? not the existence of it itself, right? Again, I'm emphasizing that it's a tool, and tools can be used in either positive ways or negative ways. But the way that it is right now, there's a lot of negatives that are about it. And most of them are because we're not doing it mindfully. We seek it as oblivion, to be mindless of everything else. And this is something that, it happened in other ways previously, but the ability of these tools to sort of distract our minds and make ourselves obsessed with the things that really don't matter is much more than the previous tools that existed. So you have to be cognizant of this. You have to be aware of it and find a way to balance things. Find a way to move things in a way that matters. Imagine this. Imagine this. If you think that all things are equal, right? Whether it's virtual or in person, imagine this exact majlis. Except instead of this majlis and everyone being gathered over here in front of me, I'm sitting in front of a screen, and each one of you are sitting in front of your own screens. Would it feel in any way the same as it feels right now? Right, speech, okay. Speech isn't that great anyway. But the other parts, what about the noha? You're going to have a reciter say a noha, and then you're going to be doing some matam, and then probably barely, sometimes you barely hear the chorus of things in person. Think you're going to hear the chorus of things when everyone's online? No, everyone's going to be muted. Nobody's going to be saying anything. Half of the people aren't even watching, right? They've already turned to something else. Let's not fool ourselves and think that everything is equal. It's not. It's different. The relationships that we have in person are much more meaningful and impactful. Right? Now, relationships are one thing. It's something beyond that is even more concerning. It's how we perceive reality, how we perceive what is actually real. And this is something perhaps, we don't have any statistics, don't have any sort of way to analyze this at the moment. But perhaps we can sort of sense a danger in this increasing trend, which is that maybe it might come to the state where we see and perceive whatever world we build within this metaverse and these internet connections and websites and all of these apps and things that we have to be the actual real thing that matters beyond even the material world, let alone an immaterial akhirah. And if that happens, you want to sort of have some sort of fantasy land to go to, it's a click of the button. Why do I need to wait for paradise? I can just, click it and then I'll be there. It's a very heavy danger, right? And again, I'm not trying to paint a dystopian society where everything happens like that, but to be honest, it's not that far-fetched. It's not. It's really not that far-fetched to happen. Right? So at the very least, ignoring all of the sort of, if you want to say the conspiracy theory, the person who doesn't have any social media is telling you about social media. Ignoring all of that. At the very least, it's something to be concerned about, right? We should at least look at it, analyze it. Let's see the effect of things on our own lives. Want to test it? For a couple of days, cut it out of your life. Is it that crucial? Cut it out of your life for a couple of days. Try it. Right? Have what do they call it? A social media cleanse or something, right? Try it. And I promise you, it'll change how you perceive the world. If you let it, right? Obviously we can stop ourselves from doing it. We could, like how different people are fasting, right? There's some people who are fasting who, what they do is, as soon as it gets to Fajr time, inshallah, they're awake for Fajr, but as soon as it gets to that, they sleep, right? They pray Fajr, then they sleep. They try to sleep as long as they can. As soon as it gets to Maghrib, then they're good to go, right? You can eat. And that was their fasting. Right? So don't do that when you're if you're trying to try this. Don't, be in a miserable state, laying down in your bed in a state of depression. No, push yourself to do something. But inshallah, you'll see a difference. Now, the verse that I recited at the very beginning says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألم يأن للذين آمنوا أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله وما نزل من الحق. It says that, has it not come time for the ones who have iman, for the ones who have faith, for their hearts to tremble, to become humble before the remembrance of their Lord and that which has been revealed from the truth? Now there's a very strange thing that happens in this beginning of this ayah. It's not addressing the kuffar. It's not addressing the people who disbelieve. Right? It's addressing you and I, inshallah. The ones who have iman. Has it not come time for the ones who have iman, for their hearts to become humble? Right? So we can't go home and pat ourselves on the back and say, yes, I'm the ones who have iman. Well, no, the Quran is addressing us. It's telling us. This is something that we have difficulty with. Seeing beyond the ego and the I, to attach ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to that which is real. And we see this in various ways, right? The very, very obvious way, the extreme way, very, very overt way is what we see, for example, in the story of Shaitan, right? That Shaitan has arrogance, he has an ego. This is like, I can't handle bowing down in front of Adam. I can't handle that being something that I'm actually supposed to be doing. And so I reject Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's right to tell me what to do. Right? That's what Shaitan does. And that's very, very overt. Very, very apparent. Inshallah, we don't have that within our lives. Inshallah, we don't have that as something that is going to be, very apparent in our lives. And if it is, then we know what we need to do and fix. It's very apparent. But a lot of times it's much more subtle than that. It's a lot more hard to pick out within our own lives. Hard to distinguish that it's actually our ego that's determining that. Think about it in this way. When I go and suffer difficulties, that's usually when a lot of us turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pray. Especially if we have no material thing that we find reasonable to solve our solution, like solve our problem. Right? If it's a sickness that seemingly has no cure, it's some sort of financial problem that we don't have any opportunities seemingly around us to fix, that's usually the time when we have the most intense du'as. Right? We ask everyone to do du'a for us. We ask everyone. We ourselves are praying the most. It's usually that's when it happens. But you know what it's almost like? It's almost like I'm telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hey, I'm doing this for you, so you've got to do me a favor too, right? I'm almost like a transaction. That I'm doing this, so you do me a favor by giving me rizq, by giving me whatever I want, by making me healthy, etc., etc. That's not how it works. As mentioned last time, we don't have anything at all upon which we can say that I deserve this from God. Everything that we have, every single thing that we have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our abilities are from Allah. Our thoughts are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every breath that we have is granted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that's the case, how can I have something and say that I deserve something from Allah? No. Doesn't mean not to pray. No. These times of trials and tribulations in a certain way are a big blessing, by means of which we can gain a heightened attention and attachment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that doesn't mean that I can now dictate the terms and say, oh Allah, I'm doing this, I'm scratching your back, you have to scratch my back. That's not how it works. I can't do that. Another more subtle way than even that. Right? A lot of times we look, and this is something natural, we look at everything within our lives from the lens and perspective of ourselves. Right? These are my relationships, these are my feelings, these are my thoughts, these are my actions, these are my trials and hardships, I. I'm seeing it always through the lens of myself. And this is something very difficult to go beyond. It's maybe a lifelong struggle for inshallah, some of us inshallah to reach the state where we can go beyond that. But we perceive this persistent delusion and illusion that I am the real thing. I am the one whom the universe rotates around. It's not me, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Truly seeing that is difficult. Right? To be able to see at every breath and every moment that everything is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is from Him. That's difficult. Right? That requires a severe amount of cutting of the ego. Right? And definitely that's a lifelong struggle. Again, we should remind ourselves Islam is never 100% or zero. It's never black or white. It's a gradient. There's levels on our journey. Right? And so we shouldn't take any to say that, okay, that seems impossible, and so it's useless. No. Right? There's a metaphor, I don't know if Shaykh Hussain Mushtadi mentioned this before, but it might have mentioned it because it comes from the same inspiration in which he's basing these tafsir points. But there's a metaphor like this, that sometimes we think about the world like this, and our path forward like this, that I want to reach heaven and I'm in the middle of a desert. I know it's supposed to be in like that direction. I know it's supposed to go north, for example. But it's the middle of the night, complete darkness. I only have a lantern that sheds maybe light a few meters in front of me. Now, one person might say that, well, how can I go forward? How can I go and reach heaven if I can only see 5 meters in front of me? I can't do anything. Right? Sometimes that's how we see it, right? We want all of the answers. Every single thing should be made completely clear to me about everything, and then I'll take the first step. Doesn't make sense. It's not intelligent at all. Right? If I had a destination, even if it's in the middle of the dark, if I have a lantern that can tell me, at least a few meters in front of me, and I know what direction I'm supposed to take, well then if I take a few steps, then it'll lighten a few more steps in front of me. And I can keep on going. The path right in front of me is clear. So that shouldn't be something, this idea that everything has to be made sense to me, everything about my whole world and my journey and everything else. No, it's not about me. The whole journey is to let go of the me, the I. Please say salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, we had mentioned this hadith of the armies of the intellect and the ignorance, and how one of the armies of the intellect is thanking and being thankful. Now, to be properly thankful for anything, you first have to recognize what you're being thankful for, right? If we don't know that someone has done us a favor, then we wouldn't know to thank them. And so both, in that small statement, we see that there's two factors. One, what was given to us, what favor was given to us, and two, who gave it to us. Both of those are very crucial factors in order for us to do proper thanks for anything. And so within our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we want to increase our attention and the thanks that we give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, well, very clearly we have to increase our attention and awareness of what we've been given, the favors and the benefits that we have within this life. We have to increase our attention to who gave it to us, ultimately. Sure, there are plenty of things around us and we should be thanking the means by which all of these favors reached us. But ultimately everything is sourced from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, within this thanking is another way, a hidden way for us to break our egos. Because the more we pay attention to the favors that we have, the more insignificant we realize we truly are. And this is something that's very contrary to many sort of modern ways of psychology and psychotherapy and ways of looking at the human psyche. The sort of impression that we should be increasing our own feeling of importance and the realization that, my life matters, my choices, No. Islam doesn't say that. Islam says you derive